This video shows the proper protocols for using the TIC AN wire loop seal, which is made and sold by ELC Security Products. Now, most of what you will see in this video is applicable to other types of wire loop seals, though each type has its own unique characteristics and optimum procedures for use. In general, wire loop seals are really meant to replace the traditional lead wire seal. The lead wire seal consists of a wire, sometimes a twisted or braided wire, or even a string or ribbon, that passes through the hasps of the door meant to be sealed. The wire is crimped inside the soft lead using a crimping tool, which sometimes leaves behind a logo in the lead. Some so-called lead wire seals actually use a soft aluminum alloy instead of lead, despite being called lead wire seals. Now, the lead wire seal using lead has been around for a number of years and unfortunately is still in use outside the Department of Defense. DoD no longer permits the installation of new lead wire seals. The reason for this is partially because of the relatively poor security they offer, but more importantly because of the environmental and health problems associated with using lead. If you should encounter a lead wire seal in use, you ought to notify your supervisor immediately and make sure that the environmental health and safety officer at your facility is aware of the existence of those lead wire seals. The same is true if you are to encounter a bag or box of unused lead wire seals, or even if you find lead wire seals, used ones, laying on the ground. In general, lead wire seals are not acutely hazardous with casual, limited exposure, but nevertheless they have to be treated with respect. Try to minimize your handling of the lead and wash your hands thoroughly after contact with the lead. You are not allowed to dispose of lead wire seals in ordinary trash. This can get you in significant trouble. Lead wire seals must be treated as hazardous waste. The TIC AN wire loop seal, like a number of other wire loop seals, consists of a housing, which is also called a capsule, some type of wire, and also a head, which is in this case called an anchor. The anchor is attached to the capsule by a plastic wire called a connecting thread. The capsule, anchor, and connecting thread may be in a variety of different colors, including transparent. The TIC AN wire loop seal usually has no logo. Attached to the capsule is a serial number. The anchor, however, does not have a serial number. To use the TIC wire loop seal, the wire is passed through a hasp of the container to be sealed. Then the wire is wound by hand about the anchor. The anchor is next snapped irreversibly into the capsule. The fingers or barbs of the anchor catch on the interior parts of the capsule, making it at least theoretically difficult to reopen the anchor without damaging it or the housing. Once locked together, the anchor and capsule trap the wire, serving the same function as the crimped lead in a traditional lead wire seal. Unlike a lead wire seal, however, the TIC seal, like many other wire loop seals, requires no tools for sealing. There is a need, however, to use wire cutters to cut off the excess wire. There are a variety of different types of wire loop seals commercially available. Most of them, like the TIC seal, do not require special tools to install the seal, other than perhaps wire cutters to trim the excess wire. One of them, however, the Brooks Roto Seal, does require a special installation tool. Now, the wire used with the TIC seal can consist of a single strand of wire, a twisted wire, as we have here, which is one wire spiraling tightly around the other, The so-called wire can also be a cotton or plastic string or a thin plastic or metal ribbon. We strongly encourage, however, the use of the twisted wire. Generally, the single wires, the strings and ribbons do not provide sufficient security. In addition, the single wires and the strings are usually not durable enough for outdoor use or for containers that are moved or handled roughly. Now, unlike some of the seals covered in this DoD training course for effective seal use, wire loop seals are not barrier seals. That is, they provide very little resistance to entry. Thus, they are pure seals, not seal and lock hybrids. The tick wire loop seal can be easily removed with wire cutters or even just yanked off by hand if you're strong enough. We don't recommend this because it hurts. The tick seal, as well as most other wire loop seals in general, are not as durable as barrier seals, and they may break inadvertently with rough handling. Now, the plastic used in the housing or the capsule of many wire loop seals is often specially treated to give it resistance to damage from the ultraviolet light of the sun. Your workbook contains checklists for the installation and inspection procedures for the tick AN wire loop seal.
The first step in sealing containers or doors is to obtain the necessary unused seals from their secure storage location. All new seals must be checked out by filling out the proper paperwork, including writing down the serial numbers, date, and the name of the person who is acquiring the seals. This paperwork must be well protected at all times. When you check out unused seals, you are responsible for protecting those seals until they are installed or returned to the checkout point. Adversaries can benefit greatly by having easy access or even just a close look at unused seals. Do not let the seals leave your presence unless they are securely locked up or guarded by other security personnel. Any unused seals need to be properly secured at the end of your shift. For most operations, this will involve returning the unused seals to their original checkout point and noting this on the appropriate paperwork.
The container inspection is not complete without a thorough checking of the lid, hasp, and the sealing hole. The container must close properly. The hasp must be in good working condition. Now, small ammunition boxes often lack a proper hole for sealing. When this is the case, you will need to create one, as we will show shortly. Immediately before being used, not a few hours or a few days beforehand, a new tick AN wire loop seal must be inspected for serious problems. Reject the seal if there are significant defects, damage, scratches, or signs of tampering. If this should indeed be the case, record the serial number and turn the seal back into the storage or checkout area, making sure that it gets treated as a defective seal. When inspecting the seal, be sure the connecting thread is intact. Check that the anchor fingers are not easy to break. Check the integrity of both the capsule and the anchor. Be sure the capsule is empty. Check that the color of the capsule, the anchor, and the connecting thread are uniform, and that there is no significant discoloration, crazing, crackles, holes, or fractures. Check also for signs of gluing or melted plastic. Look very carefully at the sides of the capsule, both inside and out. Poke at them with a toothpick or other pointed object to be sure that all is as it should be. Next, look closely at the serial number. The digits should stick out a bit above the plastic. Do the numbers look and feel proper? Are they neatly aligned and evenly spaced? Are they all the same size and font? Is there any sign of tampering or modification to the serial number? Tug on the serial number. It must not come loose from the capsule. Next, examine the wire on the seal closely. Look for significant imperfections, abrasions, scratches, dents, unusual markings, or damage to the wire. Excessive wire kinking is not acceptable. The wire must not be frayed, knotted, or untwisted at any point. Feel along the wire with your fingers. You are trying to sense significant imperfections, abrasions, scratches, dents, or some kind of abnormalities. Once more, inspect the wire visually. Is the color and surface finish uniform along the entire wire? There should be no coating on the wire. Look also for evidence that the wire might have been glued, soldered, or flame heated. Try lightly bending and coiling the cable or the wire, but not so much as to put a kink in it. The wire should not unravel or break. Compare the seal you are about to install against another unused, unsealed TIC AN wire seal. Ideally, this comparison or sample seal is one from a different batch that you carry around with you for this purpose. Be sure the sample seal is marked or labeled in some way so that you don't accidentally install the wrong seal. Do the two seals have the same dimensions and color? Do the parts match? Do the two serial numbers use the same font, number sizes, and spacing? After inspection is complete and the seal is accepted for installation, record its serial number on your paperwork. Do not mark the serial number on the container. Write down on the paperwork any other appropriate comments, keeping the paperwork with you at all times. Never leave the paperwork lying around unattended, especially near the container being sealed. As always, paperwork about the seal does not get stored or sealed inside the container being protected by the seal. To install the TIC AN wire loop seal on a metal ammunition box, loop the wire through here as shown. Wrap the wire around the anchor, positioning the wire inside the anchor guides, that is, the slots in the anchor. Minimize the length of wire used as much as is practical. Snap the anchor into the capsule. There should be a clicking sound. Try to install the seal so that the serial number faces out and is easily visible. Next, check the anchor. Be sure it is fully and permanently inserted into the capsule. The capsule must not be deformed, warped, fractured, or crazed as a result of inserting the anchor. If it is, remove the seal, turn it into the checkout point, and replace it with a new seal. Also check that the connecting thread has not broken. Use wire cutters to cut off the excess end of the wire. Be careful not to cut the wrong wire. Be sure to seal both ends of the lid. In the example shown here, the seal has not been installed properly. The wire loop is simply too large. This extra wire decreases security. It increases the risk that the wire loop will get caught on something when the container is moved, and it adds to the amount of time needed for seal inspection. Keep the wire loop as small as is practical. To check your seal installation, tug on the wire. Also try to pull the anchor out of the capsule. If the seal opens or the wire or anchor slip, the seal is defective or has not been installed properly, and it should be removed, recorded, and turned into the storage checkout point. You should emphasize at that point that the seal is bad. Some small metal ammunition boxes lack a proper sealing hole. They are often sealed as shown using the side handle. But this is poor practice because the side handle on the ammunition box can be easily removed, allowing someone to open the container without disturbing the seal. This is not the way we recommend sealing the small ammunition box. For small ammunition boxes, instead of using the side handle, we strongly recommend that a hole be drilled in the container, as shown here. This hole will be used for sealing. These sealing holes only need to be put in the container once in the lifetime of the container. When the container has a hasp in good working order, generally that hasp is used for the sealing. Sometimes seal inspectors are tempted to try to slide the wire underneath a bolt head or screw head or otherwise attach it to some hardware. And this is inappropriate. You do not want to be hiding portions of the wire, nor do you want extra stresses to be applied to the wire. The scene shown here is not acceptable. Make sure the container is securely shut. Make sure the lid can't be easily pried open without disturbing the seal. Double check that the serial number recorded on the paperwork is the same as that on the seal itself. Any significant new scratches or marks made on the seal or the container during installation should be recorded on the paperwork. Look closely at the seal one more time and give it a tug. Sign off on the seal installation when you feel that all is in order. Thorough container inspection is extremely important. Sealing a faulty container is unacceptable, as shown in this extremely realistic and well-acted scene.
Seems to be well sealed. I'll just move it out to the storage area. What the heck?
Aha, it's my tuna fish sandwich from last summer. You know, not bad, but is tuna fish supposed to be crunchy?
The first thing to be inspected is the container. Check the top, sides, and bottom. Look for new cracks, holes, serious corrosion, or major scratches that were not originally noted on the paperwork. The container's paint, stain, and surface texture should be reasonably uniform and bear no obvious signs of intrusion. The lid should still be shut and not warped or partially pried open. It should not be possible to reach into the container without breaking the seal. The rivets, screws, hinges, lid, sealing holes, hasp, should all appear as though they have not been tampered with. Compare what you have seen to what is written on the paperwork. Are there any significant differences? If you find irregularities or things do not seem right, contact your supervisor. It is important to keep a sense of perspective when recording damages. Some scratches, dings, and wear are to be expected on a container that has undergone rough treatment. Use your own good judgment and think about which deviations from the record might be due to tampering attempts and which are likely to occur under normal circumstances. Your instinct is often the best indicator that something is wrong. If you have even vague suspicions, trust your instincts and report your concerns to your supervisor. Carefully check the seal's serial number. It must match the paperwork. Also check that the serial number on the paperwork has not been erased, modified, or overwritten. Next, feel the plastic capsule. Report to your supervisor if it feels unexpectedly oily, greasy, or wet. This may be a sign of tampering. Look carefully to see if the serial number on the seal has been buffed off or restamped or reworked. The digits should be slightly raised, evenly spaced, and of the same size and font. They should be of uniform color and finish. Next, check the wire. Look for unexpected kinking, coiling, damage, or fraying. Look for abnormal stretching, snip marks, abrasions, or other abnormalities. Does the wire look like it has been flame heated, glued, or soldered? Feel carefully along the length of the wire with your fingers, checking for any irregularities. Next, tug on the wire and on the capsule. There should be very little give. Compare the installed seal against an unused, locked tick AN wire loop seal. The two seals should be of the same size. The serial numbers must have the same fonts, alignment, and spacing. What have you seen that does not match the paperwork? What do you feel is suspicious about this situation, if anything? Trust your instincts. Report any discrepancies or concerns as soon as possible. The next step is to remove the seal. Use wire cutters. Cut the seal well away from the capsule. The final inspection of the seal involves the following. Check the removed seal one more time for abnormalities. Hold it up to the light and examine the exterior and interior. Look closely for small holes or cuts or evidence of cosmetic repair. Look also for evidence of liquid or bubbles inside the capsule or evidence of stains inside the capsule. Look for any foreign material inside the capsule. All of these are possible signs of tampering. Check that the top exterior of the anchor is not deformed or scratched. Suspicious scratches, discolorations, defects, or indentations on the anchor or on the capsule near the anchor may be evidence of tampering. Also smell the seal. An unexpected solvent or chemical smell may be evidence of tampering. Do not leave the cut-off seal lying around. Do not throw it away. It must be turned into the storage checkout area to avoid security problems. Time permitting, you may want to inspect the container once again for any abnormalities that you have not observed at the first inspection. If everything about the seal and the container seems to be in order, sign off on the paperwork.